Gotta test something. Oh! No, we have an issue. Give me a second. Okay. I just remembered something important. Which is that I need to route all this crap correctly. I guess. I think so. And then I forgot to route the audio. That's the thing I forgot. Output device, multi-output device, input device, that's fine. Can't remember if you'll be able to hear it this way or not. Aha, you will. Gorgeous. Okay, everything seems good. Cool. So I wrote a song the other day. I did it in one sitting. And it was pretty cool. No, not that. Not that. This. Wrote it in one sitting. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna go over how I made it because I wanted me in the future to be able to know how I made it. So we're just gonna play it first. I'm gonna open chat. So there's the song. Pretty cool, I think. Again, did it in one sitting. I can't remember how long it took. Probably like an hour, maybe two. and I didn't record it on the headphones that I use for mixing. They're pretty unbiased. I used it on some very biased headphones that tend to favor bass and stuff. So when I mixed it and made it like good, this is the first part of it, because it favors bass so much, I would hear the bass and I'd be like, oh yeah, the bass level is good, it fits with the rest of the recording. I play it on like these headphones, which have very little bias in them. It doesn't like favor any part of the like pitch spectrum or whatever. And it's like, oh, the bass is very severely lacking. So I ended up turning up the bass in just the entire... I was going to turn it up in specific parts, and I was like, this is a mess. And I just took the entire output. This is basically the entire output, what it goes through. And I just turned up the bass there. So I was like, oh, oh. So first of all, this noise. Hold on, let me zoom in. Also, fun fact about me and my computer and setup currently is that I can't use 3, E, or D. The keys simply don't function. So I'm working with that right now. If ever want to duplicate anything, it's a big process. Okay. Wait, yeah, I want that. This is the sound of my work's shitty Panasonic scanner that I recorded on like June 1st on my phone. I didn't even use a microphone. A nice microphone. And the original version of it, I had to, these lines here, I had to move it over so it actually fit that. Because it was like a little off. It was like slightly off, so I had to fix it and make sure it was on beat, on rhythm. Which I did. It came from this section of the recording right here. And then I just looped that. And I'm gonna turn up the volume on this for a second and try to listen for the pitch. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Somewhere around here, I think. I just got a double message. Anyway, if you can hear that, congratulations. That's what I based the melody of the song off of. I'm sure you're sick of hearing that at this point. That's what I based the melody of the song off of. And it's not quite on pitch, so I just like picked something that worked. Therefore, which brings us into the first instrument I put in, and the main basis of the song. It's this guy. When you create a new instrument in Logic Pro, so let me just do that, comes up as classic piano, classic electric piano, and I'll just which sounds different from what is actually being heard here. Some more wobbly, right? Whoops. That's got no wobble in it. So I'm going to show you what I did. I just did it by fiddling around. Let's go to the actual settings of this piano. This is the instrument settings. I turned up the chorus, and we'll preserve this so it doesn't fuck anything up. Okay. I'm going to turn off. But you turn on tremolo, which will go from ear to ear. You turn on chorus, which does some other wobbly shit. You turn on phaser, the phaser especially. I'm gonna turn up that. Listen to how fucking wobbly that is. It's so wobbly. And actually gets more wobbly when we get over here. I think, at least. Yeah, it gets a little bit more wobbly. And also what you're hearing like multiple things going on. That's because part of this was inspired by Toby Fox and the way he creates music, especially for Undertale. And he uses a lot of delay. And I didn't really notice it. I changed the... What I changed was the, like, how much the delay comes in. It only comes in a little bit here, but then it comes in a lot over here. And that creates, so it's da-da-da-da. And we'll change this to make sure it like... I'm gonna take out dry. It's just like a repeat of it. But... that's all it is. It's like a little bit of delay that it creates this really cool effect. We're gonna go to here. So the first iteration of this instrument, it's exactly that. We'll get to the automation, the volume automation, and the things I decided that later, but it fades in. It's just this repeated for a while as elements are being added, and then you get and then it's repeated. And that's all there is to that. And this same exact thing is repeated over here. What the hell just happened? It's repeated over here again. Same. So let's see if you can listen to the switch off. Let's see if it's noticeable. There's some delay here now, but then it switches to the other version of it. There's a little bit more delay, a little bit more wobbly, just slightly, just enough. The second instrument I made is that I added was the bass, which is very, very easy. It's just 2 notes. That's it. That's all I needed. Very simple. I just started, it was a lot of just... I knew this was going to be like a thing where I slowly evolved pieces of it. But very simple bass line. That's all I needed. I'm pretty sure I didn't even like touch the actual instrument, the bass instrument in here. I have no idea what this looks like. Apparently this is what it looks like. Didn't even touch it. It's perfect. I knew it was going to be. I chose the Liverpool bass because I've used it before. It has a very like, there's not a lot of like high pitches to worry about. Like sometimes when you strum notes on a string instrument, on a guitar especially, you get this high pitch of you like plucking, and I knew for a fact that the Liverpool bass in Logic Pro didn't do that. That it was purely just that, like, so that's why I chose it. It went for it immediately. I think the next thing I added was this little guitar line, this little acoustic guitar line. So let's take a look at that. Very simple guitar line too. Very simple. No little thing here. I knew that one was because I was imagining, I was planning on like playing this with my baritone. Yeah, I would do that. I was planning on playing it there, but it ended up just being perfect with this fake acoustic guitar, this MIDI guitar. Ended up being perfect. And you can hear that high plucking sound I was talking about. But that was very simple. I just kind of threw in a little like, and at first when I was making this, I was just like slowly, I just had like a little section here that was repeating. It was something like this where I was just piling on. I had like this, let's demonstrate what I mean. Don't copy. Where I just did this, and I put on the delay, and I put in the acoustic guitar thing, where I was just putting this in and slowly adding things, and then I made it so I like, and then I basically pushed it all to the side, moved it all so I could slowly add the different parts. But I just had a section like this where I was just like throwing in more and more stuff as time went on. And also this little entrance, and I wanted because, okay, so the only change between this opening bit with the bass, the only thing that changes is that you get another note in the electric piano, but I wanted a little something, so there's acoustic guitar, it's making it right here. I believe the next thing I added was accelerating particles, which I didn't touch at all. Like I added some like reverb and stuff to these things that I'll talk about later, but accelerating particles I did not touch. It was beautiful. I found it immediately. Listen to this. Listen to that. And it started like, that's gorgeous. Are you kidding me? I literally like I'll show you exactly what I did. I went, oh, I need kind of like a soundscape instrument. I know how to look for that. We're going to go to alchemy. We're going to go, okay, I want something that says soundscapes. I want, let's see. I want something that's, I don't know, kind of cold. Very electronic, certainly. It's this one. It goes in alphabetical order. It's this one. It's beautiful. It's right here. I found it immediately. It was gorgeous. God, it's pretty much exactly what I want. I started going past it, trying to look for like other options. Then I was like, no, this one is perfect. This is perfect. This is beautiful. So there's nothing changed with that at all. And then something I ended up adding because I was like, I ended up adding an actual like piano sound instead of an electric piano. That is basically just an exact copy of, but it's a little quieter. It's basically there to support it. It's just there to support the main thing, to give it some grounding. Because it's so wobbly, this is here to give it some just some ground. And then it goes into the bass, which I meant for it to do the whole time, but I fucked up, and for some reason this one isn't like an octave lower like it should have been, but it ended up working out and ended up being really nice. But you can listen to it kick in a little bit. I'll kick out accelerating particles so you can actually hear it come in, and I'll kick this out just so you're not distracted. Listen for this. Sorry. Okay, so you hear this. It's barely audible, but and I'll turn off this so you can hear it when it kicks into the lower octave. When it becomes the more bassy tone, you'll hear it right here. This is also where I started the delay, which I'll again talk about later when I go into how I altered each one. I'm more talking about like how I chose the instruments and how I made the instruments first off. So those are some of the main things. Let's see. And then over here at the drop, let's talk about actually I'm here because this is going to drop out very suddenly, which I'll talk about later. Sorry, my computer's lagging. Oh, sorry. You'll be confused by what the hell just happened there. I'll explain that in a minute. But this dropped out so we could have the like da 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 boom and like hit back in. The acoustic guitar obviously going. And I wanted to support that more, so I took the Bright Suitcase, which is that piano sound. So I just wanted to give it some so it had some extra like support there. And then we get to I think I did the drums here really early on, but I want to talk about the this other acoustic guitar first because it's very subtle and hard to hear. So we're gonna hit it on solo. going wrong with my audio. I don't know if it's happening on your end. Either way. Ooh. Either way, so this is something I chose. You can see that the MIDI, I did it in like this. Note by note. All this was note by note. I didn't use my computer to like hook it up to my piano because I didn't have access to it. I made this at work. I don't know if I said that. I made this at my workplace when I was working late between scanning files. I was feeling very anxious because of I'd watched sometimes this will happen to me. I watched a like 2-hour video about Curry Lay's 100 Seeds Minecraft speedrun challenge, and he was talking about like how he'd committed his life to something and like finding his purpose and like the struggles and stuff, which might seem like a overkill for if you don't know kind of that video or that kind of impetus, but he was talking about that, and I was sitting here like, I'm sitting here at my office job and I haven't made music in a little bit and I'm going to die alone. And so I was like, okay, I need to calm down and make music right now. So I did, and it ended up being this. I was going to work on a different project, but I was like, I'm just going to make something new. And I took that recording from the scanner that I'd made a couple days prior, and then made this. The way I chose this one is, it's not actually the same guitar as this. You might be able to tell. I'll change it to the same guitar that is kind of that other one, acoustic guitar. We'll change it to the same one. It's a lot brighter. You can hear that pick noise, and I didn't want that pick noise. So I changed it to, instead of the acoustic guitar, which I chose for this pretty arbitrarily, I wanted it to be acoustic. I changed it to classical acoustic guitar, because I was like, I still want it to be acoustic, I just don't want it to be as present as the other one. I want it to be a background, and I also made it like da 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 da, so it could actually, it's very slow. The whole song is very slow. It's in 6/8, but it's very slow, the pace of it and the tempo and the beats, but I wanted something that would like hit every beat, da 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 da. Just something in the background to like help, like, I don't know, drive it a little bit more against all this very slow stuff. And I still wanted it to be slow, but I needed something there to like give it a little bit of urgency as we moved into this big drop, this big section. And I chose this, which is a lot less in your face. And I put it on the left side, which is the opposite side. This one is kind of in the right ear. This that's more in the right ear, and this finger pattern is in more the left ear. So I did that intentionally, and the way I did it was, that's not too much to talk about. But basically, when you do let me do a fingering pattern for. The notes don't just stop after you pluck them. They keep going until you pluck them again. Like, if we shorten this down to only the duration that they're played, like, hold up. And then we listen to it. There's a reverb on it, so let's listen to it without the reverb. That doesn't sound realistic at all. What you have to do, what you have to do is make it so the duration of the note being played for strummed instruments, a lot of time, well, when you're doing like actual strumming, you kind of need, to be honest with you, you kind of need an actual recording. It's very hard to get strumming correct in like a MIDI setting, but in fingering patterns like this, I don't even know if this is possible to play. It probably is, but not on this. Let me see if I can do it up here. Okay. That kind of deal. Anyway, I lost track a little bit of what I was saying. The note keeps playing after you pluck it, so you have to make sure it stays until you hit the note again, including when it goes to a new chord. This hangs over. Let me hit it without the thing again. Duh. That duh doesn't belong in the next chord. Duh, 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 duh. But it plays over until you hit it again. So that's something that's really important for when you're doing MIDI in plucked instruments and stuff like that. Either way, we're going to finally move on to the drums, which again I took inspiration from Toby Fox for in the song Undertale. I believe that's track 68. I might be wrong. 86, maybe not 68, 86. I used to know the order of all 101 songs in the Undertale album. I was a big Undertale fan. So here's exactly how I did this beat. That what I did, it feels so out of place, or not out of place, it feels, you can't just make that sound on like a regular drum set. And actually there's a bit of an echo thing happening here, so let me turn that off so you can get more of the feel of it. Which is, again, since the drums aren't increasing the urgency, I wanted something that would, which is why the acoustic guitar. Something that would like help that move along. Anyway, this track is just that audio for that drum is just an edited version of this. How I did that was, let's go functions, MIDI transform, half speed, select a number 8. I actually didn't have the cymbals in there at first, but I was like, it needs it. Which is just a little thing that I like added, because I started without the cymbals and then I started editing the track so it would be how it is now, but then I was like, it needs something else, so I added the cymbals, redid the track and the editing. but I basically took, I knew what I want, where I wanted the beats of it, so I did that. So I took that, and then I took inspiration from Toby Fox, like I said before, and what I mean by that is that I took all this, I reduced it to half speed, so, or sorry, I half the time, double speed, so I could, in the future, once I took this audio and could edit it, could slow it down. So let's listen to this with, I'm going to do something, okay. So it has this kind of, it has this extra like feeling to it that just you don't get when it's not slowed down. So I did the beats, I reduced it to half the amount of time, but it's in beats, and then I took that audio, made it so I could edit it, and then slowed it down so it was basically the original, the same beats. Oh boy. You get what I mean, where I'm slowing it down back to the beats that was originally made, but now it's like also slowed down. It's you get what I mean. Because it's the slowed down version of this. And then you slow that down and it goes to, and then I did something further, and I transposed it. I basically turned the pitch. Oh shit. Hold on. I did it to the wrong thing. I transposed it down by like an octave. Especially that like cymbal sounds so good slowed down and turned down. And then over here, oh, like that. Oh, it's got an oomph now. Oh, I didn't mean to save. That's fine. But it's got that oomph that it didn't before, when it was just the regular drums. It also has an echo on it, which I will talk about later. It's got all that oomph. Ooh. So that's everything in this direction, I think. And then we move on to the last instrument, which is the strings. Very basic strings. Very, very, very basic. And it's just that repeated. I again didn't do, I also I forgot to mention this, I didn't do much to that acoustic guitar fingering pattern over here. Besides adding reverb, which I'll talk about later, I didn't do anything to the original drum kit instrument. I ended up doing things to edit it like after, but I didn't do anything to edit the original drum kit. I just picked the drum kit that I thought sounded best and then edited the audio from that. And that still holds true for the strings. I didn't like the only thing I really like edited the shit for was the original classic electric piano. So for the strings over here, I, again, didn't do much to them. I don't think I really did anything to them. I just chose string ensemble instead of violins. Imagine, I'm going to change it to violins and just see what it sounds like. It doesn't even play the low notes. Can't. I was also considering, instead of using strings, I was considering using like a pad, which, if you don't know, is a type of synthetic instrument that is used for those kind of long, drawn out, kind of supporting sounds. So for instance, let's see if this is a good example. That's an example of a pad. Not like the best example, but it's just an example. So we're gonna take that again. So I considered using a pad, but I was like, there's a lot of organic instruments in it. There's the guitars, there's the bass line. To an extent, there's the piano sounds, which can be made on a physical piano. There's the drum kit, although kind of distorted and slowed. It's still a drum kit, and I was like, I should probably just keep with these kind of themes. So I chose the strings. It has this really nice especially listen to it with there's this kind of interesting dichotomy between the very natural acoustic sounds and the very like electronic sounds, aka the why is this here? Oops. So the accelerating particle sounds, to an extent the again the drum kit, which is like a distorted version of the original sounds. The original scanner sounds are also an example of that. All these very kind of electric, mechanic, like countered by all these organic sounds. So that was just something that ended up happening that I really like. Nothing too much to talk about with the strings. I added some reverb, I think. Did I? Yes. I added some reverb. I'll talk about that again later. How long has this stream been going? I don't know. Doesn't matter. And then we get to the end where a lot of it cuts out. Oh, that's something. So for the strings to come in, I added a duplicate of that acoustic guitar kind of melody thing, but I made it an octave lower again to give it some support. Again, so listen to it again back if you can hear it. We'll skip to here. I'm gonna mute it now. It's a very subtle thing. It just doesn't feel as supported. It would have worked, but I needed that support. Hold on. So there's that. And then I cut a lot of it out, including the We lagging, boys. Oh, no we're not. I wasn't hitting the shift key. I was trying to move over, but I was hitting the function key and scrolling, and I was like, why is it not moving? Why is it lagging so bad? I just wasn't hitting the shift key. Anyway, a lot of it drops out. The only things left, there's that one strum, and then this one again, obviously. That electronic sound, the strings, the bass cuts out, the piano, like the supporting piano cuts out, the drums cut out, actually that electric, this cuts out halfway through. I'll tell you exactly when it cuts out. You can see it here, but I might not be able to. And that, by the way, that is the noise the scanner makes when it's done scanning. And it just ripped that. And so that's all the instruments. But now I'm going to talk about some decisions I made in terms of adding like reverb and some volume edits, stuff like that. Since I'm talking about individual instruments and the composition, I'm going to talk about some of the mixing, basically. So let's look at that real quick. Oh, you can't see. Okay. So let's look at the scanner sound first. I needed to you can't see, I think my webcam might be covering it, very possibly, but I needed to turn up the volume on this a lot. It was very quiet. It was on my phone, and I was just kind of holding it near the scanner, and I ended up needing to turn it up like a lot for it to be audible. This starts out at 6 plus 6 decibels, which is like the highest it can go in terms of like volume, and also the gain, which is changing the kind of original volume of the recording, just turning that up by 8 decibels. So this is a total increase of like 14. It was very quiet. So it starts out, and as stuff kicks in right here, this will slowly fade a little bit as we focus more and more on the actual instruments, and it fades all the way down to 1 decibel eventually. It's gotten quieter. Like, well, I'll take you back to the beginning if you didn't catch it. Starts going down, and that's the quietest it gets before the ending. So it's very quiet, ramping up, ramping up, ramping up, because we're fading out all the instruments, which means more focus on the scanner. Increase, increase. And what is happening here is if I didn't add these little volume edits, and I'm not willing to change them because I don't know how well I could functionally put them back, but this volume increases on the original track, but it needs to fade to this recording smoothly of the scanner ending, because this is just a loop of like the same. Hi Maxity. Yeah, the beginning's great. I'll go back through it, but I'm just talking about all this shit I did for how I made it. So I needed it to switch between them. So this one, the original scanner fades out a little bit, and this one fades in a little bit, so it has this smooth transition. It's not like super well done, but it's functional, and that's all I needed it to be. It just needed to be functional. So that's what I did for that. And let's go back to the beginning. So obviously this fades in. So that's all it is. I needed it to fade in, because just like starting it is not what I wanted. I wanted it to fade in. There's not a lot of like stark changes in the song. It's a lot of slow building, which is important. I don't know why. Oh, that's right. So for the drop over here, the do 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 do, for when the strings and the drums kick in. Bye Max, have a good breakfast. We're listening to this. We're gonna listen to it cut out to give more credence to that drop. So it cuts out right here. It changes from 0 decibel increase, just like at the standard volume, to drop cut out in, because, and I did it in the volume instead of just like cutting off the recording of it, because it would, thank you Max, it would still, I don't know, because of when you release the note for this particular instrument, it doesn't just stop, much like a baritone sax, unless, you know, for this instrument, it doesn't just stop when you let go of the note. It kind of like fades out a little bit. So I just needed to take the volume and just like cut that section out so it could come back in. And it accomplished that drop pretty well. I didn't even like cut out like any bass and stuff or anything. I just needed this kind of ambient that was happening in the background to cut out. So it was the so the drum hit as we add things would hit better. I'm not sure why this acoustic guitar. Oh well, yeah, it was too quiet in the big section, so I just increased the volume for this. I'll show you then. So it's this volume. Sorry. Going back here. Gonna increase. It's a slight volume increase, but I needed to balance that better. So I did. Oof, my computer is all lagging. So also, I used automation to, let's see, it should be this one, to start delay. Oh, where are we at the beginning of the song? So it's not in any kind of delay right now. I showed you what the delay sounds like before. And it's gonna hit in right here. Turns on. And that is done by automation. It automatically turns on the delay. It's great. My computer's lagging a little bit, but not too bad. It's fine. So that's some of the automation, and then we're going to talk about the delay. The delay and the echo and stuff like that. Again, took from Toby Fox. I think I already mentioned this, where like he adds a lot of delay to like melodies to give it like flavor or color or whatever. It ends up being a really cool sound, and I was like, I can do that for this. Why not? So I added delay to the da 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 da. I added it to, I think, just that actually. I did it just to the melody. And then to the bass, I added echo. Let me make sure I don't have anything turned off that isn't meant to be. Okay. I added an echo to this bass, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to turn off the echo. So this is the straight bass. Very basic. I just turned on the echo. There's a very slight do-do-do-do-do. Like you might have heard it there. I'll play it again. I'll turn up the actual echo sound. There's that, just a little bit of like hey Dragon, Wraith, Showtime Cosplay. So yeah, so that's the echo. It functions the same as the delay. And then the last thing I did was I added the reverb, which I've mentioned before. If you're like watching back from the future, not anybody in chat right now, there's hold on, let me show you what I mean. We're gonna turn off all of the reverb for this. We're gonna go over here. Okay. Okay. But when you add the reverb, oh, that gives it the sense of space. And I didn't add it to everything because not everything needed it. I probably could have, but I didn't. What else did I add that? I added that to the strings. The strings were really important to add that to. I'll show you the difference. With and without the reverb. Did you hear that like change from the chords? You hear it again here. There's gonna da da. It's like, it's kind of like you're taking a breath, but I wanted it to be more da, you know, less, I don't know. So I added it here, and it's hard to hear, but you'll hear it in between the change to the chords. There's more, you'll especially hear it when the strings end. I'm gonna take off the reverb. I'm gonna go here. Oh, whoops. Because when the strings end, they just stop. But with the reverb, much better. Beautiful. And the reason why, like, in orchestra halls and like symphony halls and stuff, they have that kind of built in. The space is designed, if you don't know this, a lot of instrument halls where you go and listen to music, not necessarily concert halls, but a lot of like symphony halls and stuff are designed to echo it out into the space for everybody to hear. A lot of theaters for like plays and musicals and stuff are also designed like that to carry the sound. We had an issue in my high school's assembly place. You know how most places have an assembly place. We were lucky enough to actually have like a theater, and that was our assembly place. But that's also where we'd put on the plays and the musicals. There was a dead spot in like right dead center of the stage and right in front of the stage where and it just would not carry because it wasn't designed with that intent. It was designed to be we need a theater for this high school. They built the theater. It wasn't designed with that in mind, and it probably should have been, but that's more, it's not really my pay grade, but that is what reverb does. It carries that sound and it extends that sound. So that's why it's so important a lot of times. If somebody's playing a violin in front of you and they stop, the sound stops. If they're playing that violin on a stage, they do the exact same thing. Hopefully, that sound will carry. I use Space Designer a lot because I like Space Designer. I'm using the Midnight plate. I went to large spaces instead of a small space. Large spaces, I went to plate reverbs. I don't really know what a plate reverb is, but I use it, and I chose Midnight plate because I was like, sure, and it ended up being like perfect. And the problem with reverb though, I applied it directly to the strings, so it's on it. It has to like go through that. You don't hear the original sound at all when it plays back. You just hear the version with the reverb in it. That I did not do that for everything. For example, the main theme, the main melody, I did not do that for. I'll show you what I mean. Let's move more closer here. It is taking some of its sound and being processed separately into reverb. And you can turn up and down that reverb. It kind of functions like the wet and dry things and actual reverb things, but it's taking that and it's being processed separately, and you can route a couple things to that different processing track that'll process it for you. Because for some reason when I added it directly to the thing, it didn't sound right, didn't feel right. I couldn't tell you why now, but I sent it to the other thing to be processed, so you hear the dry, the original sound, and you hear the separate processed wet sound at a different level. So that's some reverb. I also added that to the edited the distorted slowed down drums too, where it sent some of its audio there to give it that sense of space. Still, I also added the echo there too, and honestly, I think that's it. I think we're done. I think that's everything. I think that's it. I think that's how I made it. I was very confident in every step of this process. I knew where I wanted it to go. I didn't know all of it beforehand, but when I was like, oh, I know where I want this to go, and then I was able to get it there very confidently. I knew what to do for each thing, and this is the first song I've made in Logic Pro where where that was the case. all of the time. I knew how to do the things that I wanted to do every single time. Very proud of myself for this. God. My voice is getting sore. I didn't warm up or anything. I woke up, walked the dogs, took a shower, took my meds, had coffee, and then I just started. Showed my mom some Tumblr posts, and then I just started streaming. So my voice hurts. I'm very proud of this. It just, like, I made it, and I was listening to it, and I was so at peace and so content. I walked my dogs with this playing, and there was like thunder in the distance. It was perfect temperature. There were kids in the pool pointing at my dogs as we walked past. It was so beautiful. It makes me feel so good about everything. Like listening to it, especially having made it, there's that extra level of like being proud of the thing I've done. We're gonna listen to it one last time in full because it's great. With all this knowledge that you have now of how I made it. I just knew what to do with the bass, for instance. I just knew. I knew exactly that I wanted it to be simple, just don't. If you have any more questions, you can put it in the comments, or you can DM me if you know me from like Discord. I have a server actually a personal server where I put it's basically my song notebook, and I'll upload the audio. This was uploaded yesterday, 2 days ago, to the Discord server. If you want to have, I don't know, I guess early access to shit like this, DM me on Discord. If you're just a random person in the comments, don't bother. I don't know you. But if you know me, go ahead and ask. I'll probably give you access. That's been everything. Thank you so much. Oh no! Ah! Which one is it? It's this one. Hello. Goodbye.